Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and we have the weekend edition of the Pocket Change Market Report for July 29, 2023. Okay, not only is it the weekend report, but it's also the last one for the month of July. We have seen a amazing crop of coins this month. As I don't think anybody really expected the lower end error and variety market to be performing so well. So did we follow suit into this last week of the month? We're going to see. Some of these sales are pretty good, which kind of leads me into this next thing. A lot of these coins, as you would have guessed, are found out in the wild. All right. A lot of these have been discovered going through bankrolls. People cherry pick coin shops or shows. They even cherry pick online. It's really, one of those things that people do even on eBay, where a lot of these originating sales come from. Cherry picking online is yet again another great way to find some of these coins, either to add to your collection or to resell. The resale market on a lot of these coins is simply unbelievable right now. So if you're looking to pick up a little bit of a side hustle that you can take advantage of and make a few extra bucks doing it, this is a fun way of not only enjoying the hobby, but also helping monetize your bankroll for extra things. We are still in the middle of summer. People are still vacationing. So seeing the robust market as it sits is quite nice for this time of year. So again, like I talk about in all the other PCMRs, we don't discuss graded coins. Okay, grading generally adds in that extra expense that maybe is not necessary. And I can tell you this right now, about 99% of the errors and varieties out there do not need to be graded. Pocket that money, keep it in your pocket, resell the coins raw, and make money. Real easy. And all of the pictures that you're going to see here today on this video are original to the seller's listings. We didn't juice or doctor any of the photos to make them appear a lot better than they actually are. You are simply getting the best and the worst out there. If anything, you're going to get a fantastic photographic kind of education out of it when it's appropriate, but you're going to be able to see what that low bar is set with these coins. So we have nearly 30 coins to talk about today. Let's go ahead and jump right in and see what has sold here this week. Thank you guys again for tuning in, and all the views and support have been phenomenal. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. All right, so the first coin is absolutely going to be one of those that's certainly worth a mention because there are a number of dozen of really, really small varieties, double the dies to be exact, that you could find on 2023 Jefferson Nickels. Now, this particular one right here is a Philly minted coin. That's predominantly where you're going to find a lot of these varieties are on the P minted examples. Unfortunately for you guys that are on the West Coast, the Denver mints aren't really generating too much buzz as far as varieties is concerned. But what are we looking at here for this one? So this particular coin was sold by Brian Rybar, who's one of the big variety people on eBay and in the community. He had this one here. This is a WDDR number 36. So this is a Wexler file coin. And his website is doubleddie.com. So you're going to be able to take a look at all of the other doubled dies for this date. But if you look on the reverse, right in the Door Bay area of Monticello, you're going to see some pretty nice doubling, not only in the columns, but also that small little half-moon window right above the door. All right, so this is one of those common places where you find these. And seeing as how this is DDR number 36, there's 35 other ones before this that are all DDRs as well. So they're going to have different variances of what you see right here. The doubling might be shifted a certain way. For the most part, they're all kind of the same class, kind of like that class 9 double die, which is generally seen on some of these more modern coins. So this one right here, surprisingly, check this out, sold for $34.95, which is a phenomenal amount of money for a double to die on a much newer coin. And these are out there. There are folks collecting these, and they want to put together an entire set of each one of the double to dies for 2023. So that's a buy it now option as well. That was not bid up to that amount, so you could sell it as a buy it now listing. This is one of those instances where taking good close-up photos of the variety is going to be important, so make sure you guys are doing that on some of these coins. Okay, it's going to save you not only a lot of time, but it's also going to give your coin a lot of traction as well as you try and sell these on the platform with hundreds of thousands of other coins in the market. The next one that we have here is 1938D Buffalo Nickel. Now, as you guys know, they only produce Denver minted 38s. It's what I call a changeover date because 1938 Jefferson nickels were also produced for this year. So a lot of 38 Denvers were preserved in really nice shape. Okay, now this one right here has seen a fair amount of circulation. I'm happy to say that there are a number of mint mark varieties that you could find on this date. Some RPMs. There's also something called OMMs, which is over mint marks. So generally that's going to be a D over S or some variant thereof. But if you look at this one right here, you can see this is a D over S. You can see the top serif of the S and the inner curl of the S. The seller also put an overlay with this drawn in S in there to kind of illustrate what an over mint mark looks like. So I put them side by side here for your benefit. These coins in much higher grade, now where I'm talking higher grade, something that's mint state and higher, they carry quite a bit of value. But even raw, this particular one, I'd say grade's no better than like a fine 15. It has a partial horn on the reverse of Black Diamond. This one managed to sell for $19.95, which is a fair amount of money for a coin today that you could pick up in this condition for about $2 to $3. So if you could cherry pick one for that amount, I know these things are littered all across the bourse of many coin shows. You're going to be doing really well. So make sure you're looking out for these. These are a phenomenal cherry pick. Our first piece of currency is a silver certificate. It's a 1935E $1 with a gutter fold, as you can see right there. There was actually a wrinkle in the sheet and it was printed over. So what is also remarkable, and you see this on other error notes, especially the much older ones like silver certificates, anything like pre-1970, you do see this. But there's a red crayon mark. I don't know if you guys see that. That's going right down the center of the note. That is actually a BEP rejection mark. An actual BEP employee, when they're doing their quality control, writes a red line across the front with a wax crayon. And oftentimes these are found, they're pulled out, changed over with a star note. But yeah, on certain occasions, they do pass through the multi-stage quality check process at the BEP. So you will come across a few of these with the actual rejection mark right on there. I think that's simply phenomenal. That's all part of the process. So there you go. Nice gutter fold. This one sold for $60. Always a worthwhile find. These are even being found on much newer notes as well. The next one that we have here is simply just a really nice off-center struck Lincoln Memorial cent. Now, the only thing that this does not have is a readable date. So you're kind of left to your imagination here with this one. But it is a copper composition. It's not a much later copper-coated zinc, thankfully. This one was sold, I don't know if you can see it, by Bubba Sully, who's been around eBay selling errors, varieties, and type coins for quite some time now, many years. And this particular coin sold for $24.25 with 10 bids. Coin's in really nice shape. No damage, no carbon spots, no staining of any kind. Just a really nice representative example of this type of error, which looks to be about 55% off center. Here's another one of the coins that made headlines a couple years ago. We're going to revisit this because these things are still selling for a little bit of money. They're not completely dead in the water. They're not down to zero, as some people would expect. But the 2021 Tuskegee Airmen burning building strike-throughs on these are still a worthwhile target. I mean, for avid roll hunters of quarters, this one should always be on your list because they are worth way more than face value. This one right here is sold for $34.33 with 7 bids. The floor seems to be about $25-$30 for these coins. And again, grade still very dependent on the desirability and how much these things are worth to a collector. Pretty nice one here, and this is a coin, ladies and gentlemen, that you can find in regular circulating coinage, or you can find these in proof sets. But it's the 1970S Lincoln Memorial set with the RPM number 1. Now you're going to see on this one the secondary S punched mint mark is north of the primary. Man, that was a mouthful. But you can see the double top loop of the S over there. A very strong one. Surprisingly, this is not in the Cherry Picker's Guide. I'm hoping that one day it will be because it is quite major as far as visual eye appeal. This one sold for $25.15 with 7 bids. Again, a very nice RPM. It has a lot of liquidity to it and always a worthwhile find. Make sure you double check your mint sets for this coin. Our next piece of currency is one that's caught a little bit of attention. Not this one specifically, but there are other ones that have sold in the last week or so. That's beginning to catch a lot of general interest, and that's the notes with the 2 different shades of green of serial numbers. So the bottom left set of serial number is much darker in appearance to the top right set of serial numbers. So this particular note, and I actually did a short video on this earlier, so I'm not going to go through the whole spiel on it, but we have a what they call an inkwell contamination. Some of the black ink that is intended for the black seal had accidentally seeped into the green well for this serial number here. So when you add those two together, you're going to get a very rich, dark forest green. Some of them actually come just about full black on there, which is amazing. But we're finding these more and more in 2013 and 2017 dated series notes. So make sure you're looking at every single dollar bill. You just never know where you're going to find one of these. This particular one, ladies and gentlemen, sold for $49. Actually, no, not this one. This one sold for $33.13 with 3 bids. Now, there was another example that was in much nicer shape that sold for $200. So, as you can tell, there's quite a bit of value in this note. Again, don't toss it away. Look at every single dollar bill. These things have a tendency to pop up more these days. And I have a feeling they're not particularly rare, all right? But you don't want to wait too long to look for these as time flies by and these notes begin to disappear out of circulation due to age and attrition. You're not going to find these much longer. There's a little bit of a look at the back of the note. Pretty well circulated. Our next one that we have here, another nice circulated $1 bill, this time a 1977A issue. As you can see, this one has a back-to-front wet ink transfer. It's a partial little transfer there on the right side of the note. So you have some of the reverse image design that's been transferred over to the front. Generally, that's just residual stamping ink that's on the impression cylinder. So when another sheet's fed in there, whatever ink is on the impression cylinder will end up on the corresponding side of that note. This one right here, again, showing a little bit of circulation wear. The note's not terrible condition-wise. This particular one sold for $49.99. Seeing as this is a partial, a full wet ink transfer tend to sell for right around $100 and up. They're just much more desirable if you have a full transfer. All right, well, it was bound to show up. 2023 Lincoln Cent. This one is a coin that was photographed and imaged in a cardboard 2x2. So that's why it looks a little grainy. Plus, you have all the little frayed cardboard bits all over the front of the coin. So, my personal take, these cardboard 2x2s are a dime a dozen. Take the coin out of the holder carefully and take a photo of it outside of that. All right, you're just going to get a much cleaner presentation. But this is going to be one of those extra V Lincolns that's still very very much pursued out there in the world today. And you can see that little extra V there next to the VDB initials. Some are saying it's a rejection mark of some sort. There's still a lot of questions surrounding this one. However, there's a lot of popularity in these because you could grade them through Annex and GC, and from what I understand, PCGS will also attribute these as well. That's pretty big news. This particular coin right here is sold for $85. Now, will the entry of PCGS in the arena of grading these, will that enhance the value of them? Possibly. We'll see. These things dropped all the way down to about $40 to $50, and they're kind of coming back up a little bit. I've seen a few here in the last 48 hours that have sold for right around $60 to $100. So we've seen that mean average go up a little bit. So again, worthwhile to mention this. Again, keep looking out for these. They're still out there in circulation. Not a great looking coin, but hey, let's go ahead and talk about this 1953S Lincoln Wheat Cent. Again, proven that condition, sometimes doesn't matter too much. These are always going to have a little bit of value. This is RPM number 2. The secondary S-mid mark is punched east of the primary. You can see the extra loop of the bottom of the S there on the right. And the top right part of the S is indeed touching the bottom of the 5. So that's one of the things you'll look out for. This is naked eye visible as far as mid-mark placement goes. But you'll want to get a jeweler's loop or magnifier up close to ensure that it is indeed the RPM. This particular one sold for $13. So even in this condition, which is a little bit dark with carbon spotting, it still managed to pull in $13. I would take that all day long. This one right here, another nice one. The seller really didn't know what they had. It just says no date. It was a very basic generic description. You guys could check it out for yourself if you wanted to. But this is a Lincoln Memorial Cent that was struck through a late stage capped die. All right, so there was actually a coin that was stuck to the obverse die, and after so many strikes, it had essentially flattened or pancaked into a much larger coin, but it's still stuck to that obverse die. So when it strikes up other coins, you're going to get a really nice heavy strike on one side, and then the other side of the coin is going to look very weak, like it was struck through a bunch of grease. So this one right here is sold for $30.25. Again, these sell really well. And again, one of the biggest varieties to look for today, 1984 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This is the FS101 doubled die obverse. Real simple. It's got the double earlobe. All right, look out for that. This is a no-doubter. It's as strong as it looks. This coin has gained lots of popularity over the last few years. All right. It used to be a coin that you could effectively pay about $30, $40 for at any given time. But because of how nice and neat and strong this one is, there are a lot of people who have come into the marketplace to pick these up. This one even has some of the little, what they call ring of death on the obverse. So at one point, this coin was a roll ender. All right, so it made contact with the little finger mark that crimps the end of the paper roll. This one still sold for $93.80. There's still a really hot coin condition. Can be a little bit worse for the wear, and still do really well. Now this one's cool. Now, if you guys are familiar with your Kennedys, from 65 to 1970, these are 40% silver clad. All right, so they're not all completely clad, or all completely silver. So these still have layers to them. So this one right here is a mist clad layer. You know, you can even say that it's a delamination for this one here. Very attractive. It goes from end to end, you know, from one side to another. And it just shows you, you know, the just kind of the imperfect nature of coins and how they're made and struck. This is a really good representative example of that. So the 68D 40%er sold for $43.88. So not too bad. Pretty decent sale. Oh, we got a blind bat strike through on the 2020 American Samoa quarter. This is against one of the more smaller strike through events. You can see that there on the Mama Bat's face, how it's got a crater there. So again, it's a field restricted style strike through, which involves the feeder finger. And this one right here, always a perennial favorite. This one sold for $20.50 with 3 bids. Now, we didn't have too much in the way of lots here in the last day or two, but this one came on the radar, and, you know, this one's funny. It was sold and promoted as an 11-piece error lot. I could count 5 that are definite errors, which are all 5 of the off-center or double-struck coins you see up top. So the seller did mention that 5 of the coins were major mint errors, but there was these other 6 coins that were just kind of thrown in there. And they're just like a miscellaneous mishmash of other just stuff that aren't errors at all. So the idea is, do we see some value and opportunity here to buy this and then resell the coins individually? What I think is an extra value add has to be coin number 2 at the top left there. That's a double struck Lincoln cent. And that coin by itself sells for generally $30 to $50 by itself. So I was more than a little shocked that this lot sold for $33.95 with 31 bids. So, and there's the back image there for you. I could honestly say that there's lots of room here to at least 2x your money. And being that the double struck Lincoln is on there, that's going to be the breadwinner of the lot. While all other 6, what I consider to be non-errors, are just going to be bonus coins for this one. Really cool one here, 1976 $2 bill with a slightly misaligned overprint. So the way I gauge these is just look at the green seal. If it's not centered on the word 2 or 1 or 5 or whatever denomination is on there, then it's misaligned. Okay, this one, not too crazy. You do have overlap of the serial number onto Washington, D.C. So usually that people that collect into these, they want to see some sort of overlap between print 2 and print 3. All right, so this one has both. And the note is in like really phenomenal, crisp, uncirculated shape as if it was printed yesterday. This one sold for $75. Wow, really, really good sale on this one for a misalignment that is a little bit on the minor side. All right, so this is more along the lines of a full front to back wedding transfer. It's not the greatest looking note. It's got annotations or writing on the front. It's got some staining, some blue on the bottom right, and various other areas, probably done from a teller, you know, when they went to receive these in. But you can see the front to back wedding transfer. It's a little bit darker up top, and it gradiates down to a lighter black. So again, very desirable. Sold for $99.99. This one ungraded, and it does not need to be graded. Grading will serve no purpose in enhancing the value of this note. 1995 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This one should always be at the top of your list if you're an avid roll hunter. Hello, guys. This is the FS 101 doubled die obverse. So if you look at Liberty and the motto, "In God We Trust," that's really all the proof you need. This is always going to be a very strong doubled die. Again, it's the FS 101 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. This one sold for $50. So again, really nice grade piece, and the price matches for this one. 1980p Washington quarter. And what we have here is an indent with a partial brockage. Very nice. And the coin's in really nice high grade shape. There are a number of rim bumps all across the bottom of the front of the coin, so that's worth mentioning. It's not the most perfect looking example in spite of all of the luster and, that could be damage that happened when this thing was being packed out in a roll. Because obviously it's not the size of a quarter anymore. It's much larger than that. So there was two coins that are overlapping, and it was restruck. All right, so that's why you have a reverse sprockage on that indent area there on the obverse of the coin. This one sold for $123.88. Again, that's a lot of money, but it's deserved for a coin that generally sells for an up premium in today's market. Just a simple off-center 1981 Lincoln. Very nice color on this. Nice brown all throughout. Very nice oxidation. Problem-free. Beautiful coin. I'm sure this one will probably be a necessity in an off-center date collection. This one sold for $54.79. And here's our other silver certificate for the week. We have another 35E, same date and series as the first one we talked about. Nothing of note on the front. It just looks like a normal printed silver certificate. No mismatched serial numbers, no weird misalignments. But when we look at the back is wonky. Some would say, oh, that's miscut. How cute. If the back was miscut, so would the front. So what we have here is a misaligned back, or misaligned back sheet, or back of the sheet. So when they printed the back, it was slightly tilted in the print area of the impression cylinder. Pretty wild, yeah, that this even made it out. I didn't see any rejection mark or anything on there. This one sold for $113.36 with 25 bids. Again, that's a very healthy sale, but very deserved. All right, keep in mind, rim clips are very minor. What's it going to take for these things to be worth money? Well, if you have 3 clips on one coin, that'll do it. 1960 AD on this Washington quarter, you could count all 3 clips. One here by the date, one here by L and Liberty, and then another one up here by ER in Liberty as well. So yeah, I mean, they're not crazy looking, and these will be easy to miss. I would say a lot more people would spend coins like this, and that will be a mistake. This one ended up selling for $21.99 here in the last day or two. Usually single and 2 clipped coins sell for less than half that. So if you want something that has a lot more spice and juice, look out for the 3 clips. Really cool to highlight an old coin, all right? Yeah, you could call this an error of sorts, but at the same time, it's par for the course for the era that it was produced in. 1851 braided hair, large cent, with really strong die file lines on the reverse. You could see it there by the E and 1 going into the wreath. That's probably part of a very unique die pairing. So someone has a book handy that covers varieties of the braided hairs, like a Newcomb book. You might be able to use that to your advantage to identifying what attribution number this one is. And if it's a rarity, like an R5 or higher, I mean, that's going to be big money. So, always look out for these neat anomalies on much older coins like this. This is just a really pretty looking coin, by the way. $50 bill. For a coin that probably nets out at about VF 30, 35, somewhere around there. It's got plenty of chunk and design to it. And it looks to be problem-free, which is also another huge benefit. And you would overlook these two, because I did. 2018 P Cumberland Island quarter. We've seen this a few times. Nice little raised rim cud on this one. So it's just on the rim. It hasn't gone into the design of the coin. Therefore, it's just a rim cud. But still, do not overlook this. $17.99 was the final buy price on this one. And we also have another stunner, 1966 Lincoln Memorial. This one's off-center by about 55%. Good-looking coin, again, for the most part, problem-free. It's got a few nicks on there, but those are probably more planchet nicks than anything else. This is going to be highly desired in a date set. You just don't see this date too often. This one sold for $35.50 with 12 bids. And for all you Kennedy hunters out there, if you find one that looks like this, congratulations. You found a pretty decent one. Worth way more than silver, I would say. This coin was struck through a lot of grease on both sides of the coin. All right, so again, a very lovely looking coin that generally anyone that hunts through half dollars, they'll probably overlook things like this, you know, because it's still a clad coin, copper nickel. They're just in it for the silver. And, you know, this one right here ended up selling for $22.04 with 5 bids. Another good date, 1969D, Lincoln Memorial Cent. This one again struck off center by about 60%. This one was photographed in a 2x2 flip. This one sold for $49.95. And the final coin for the last PCMR of July has to be this 1942 Lincoln Wheat Cent. This one I would say is off-center. I was going to say probably broad struck, but you could see the top of the motto, "In God We Trust," is cut in half there, which leads me to believe that it's more off-center than anything else. Handsome looking coin, problem-free, lots of mint red left on this one. This is a very desired coin. Anything from the Wheat Cent back years are going to command a lot more premium than the current age of off-center coins. $89.95 was the final sale price on this one. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a great way to cap things off for the month of July. A lot of good stuff to be found out there. We got some pretty major shows coming up. I'll be at the ANA show in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, coming up here in 2 weeks. Actually, a little bit less than that, I think. Probably more like 11 days. So I will be at the show on the 10th and 11th. So that's Thursday, Friday. I'll be at the Whatnot booth on that Thursday, so the 10th. If you want to come by and say hi, I'll be there supporting Whatnot and NGC as well. Would love to see you guys, but outside of that, I wish you nothing but the best in all of your hunting endeavors. Hopefully this video gave you some inspiration to go out there and do a little bit of hunting of your own. So until next time, best of luck, have fun in the hobby, and I will see you on the next coin video. So long, my friends.